Good morning. Welcome back to the tour. One more day in the Pyrenees before we go to a rest day and a flat stage, and then it's off to the Alps in Paris. So we're closing in on the end of things here. Certainly well past halfway. This is stage 15 of 21. So even over a third, if I'm doing the math right. So today is a large group off the front yet again. The very front here is Lysenko. He's a Kazakh rider on the Kazakh team Astana, but he is also the champion of his country, of Kazakhstan. This team came about when one of Kazakh's famous racers, Vinokurov, couldn't get a team after some doping suspensions. So this team came in existence, but it's stayed around now and has done very, very well. And if you're keeping track, also has, I think, just one time had a doping issue. That really seems to have gotten way under control now. A lot more energy spent in making sure people are racing clean, but also a lot more riders choosing to race clean too, and it's made for better races. This year's tour, I think, is a lot more exciting because nobody can truly control the race. It's been a wide open tour, as evidenced by so many different racers taking stage wins and even different teams. Don't quite know the team count, but it's been now 13 riders on 14 different stages have won a stage. And appropriately, the only rider who's won 2 stages is also the yellow jersey. Who has surprised everyone by staying in the yellow jersey for much, much longer. Reminded of the French rider Watercolor. It is a French rider in the yellow jersey, Julien Alaphilippe, but it was Thomas Watercolor who stayed in the yellow jersey much longer than anybody anticipated against then Lance Armstrong. So of course the French loved him all the more for keeping that blah 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 American rider out of yellow. French always had their suspicions that ended up being proven true. But so we're just getting the group laid out here. Lysenko on the front of this large breakaway. I think the feeling today was this was going to be a break that was going to work. So it's been a long day of everybody trying to get into the stage, and so made a very, very fast start. And now they're on the first of 3 Cat 1 climbs. This is the Port Lairs. So just about finished the figure, the line work. And again, I use a felt tip version of a India ink pen. It's actually made by Faber-Castell. I would use traditional pen and ink, except I don't want to take the time to wait for it to dry, because boy, nothing worse than dragging some watercolor through a puddle of India ink. That'll give you an image of mess pretty darn quickly. Get the roadway edge in here. Also, you can see I've generated this diagonal of the figures. And so this tree right here is going to really help lock the composition. So you have this diagonal and then sort of hit this roadblock that holds your eye, keeps it from spilling out the back of the page. So while, yes, that tree exists in the real world, I'm not making that out of whole cloth. It's using that information to make a more dynamic composition. So we're going to call this Who's Coming, because that, to me, looks like what Lysenko is saying or doing, checking to see who's coming with him. All right, now I'll label all this on the back. That's what I do. So after I get it all laid out, now I would usually flip it over, but in the interest of time, I won't, and write everybody's who's in, what team they're on, where we are in the race, those kind of things. But I can do that after the image dries. So now starting to lay the colors in, as per usual. Warm, lighter colors, working my way through the palette to the darker colors. This is Micah Mullimer, writing for Trek Segafredo, who's second wheel in this group. Their team leader, Richie Port, is just not having the great tour, although the last couple of tours he's crashed out a couple stages ago, so from his point of view, hey, it's better than it has been. I may not be well placed, but at least I'm not laying in a hospital. There have been a few trips to the hospital in this year's tour, and a few people like Michael Woods refusing to go even though he's got broken ribs. Well, he went, he got checked out, but he's still racing. Now, the sports directors would never let somebody not get checked out. So now just a little bit of the shadow of the flesh tones. Just a little more orange in the color. Just to give a little more dimensionality. So just hitting with where the shadows would fall. Alright. I think we can shift on to red now, since there's no orange in this one. I am pleased that we got a nice new color from the new team, CCC, bringing their bright orange kit into the race. It seems to have been a move away from the black that got very, very popular.
Orange is the new black.
Don't know if you heard my wife there, but that's very funny. She just said orange is the new black. Although there is only one orange team wearing orange. There was a period there where everybody was wearing black. It was like, can we get another color for the tour? All right, that seems to be the reds. Now we get this spectator. And here I'm going to change her color. She's wearing a pale turquoise. But I think this little pink top will suit her better. Maybe somebody could let her know she should change her outfit. Now we'll switch to the blues and greens. Start with the blue. So now I keep a list, and I don't know if it's in frame or not, of who's in each breakaway, so I have a sense of who I'm painting. But again, I'm not going to take the time to look at that as I'm laying these out for you. So the watercolors are made by Richson Art. They are their St. Petersburg. Beautiful, bold colors. They just really provide, help me to capture the brilliant colors of the tour. And then, oh no, that's right. Just thought this team's normal kit has bright yellow sleeve cuffs. It's like, oh crap, I just messed up. But he's in his champion's jersey, so wearing a different jersey than the rest of his team. So in this breakaway, I think our at least two different national champions. Lysenko is the Kazakh champion, and although you can't really see him, but this last rider right here, and actually no, he's right here. This guy right here is Reichenbach, who is the Swiss national champion. So he rides for FDJ, the team in front of him. But he's wearing his all-red Swiss flag kit. So while I had that brown for the AG2R, I figured I'd go ahead and get that tree in there. See, I missed some flesh tone there, so I'm going to go ahead and put that back in. Well, Reichenbach didn't have an arm. There we go. All right. So quick look here. Sorry for the pause. All right, now we move on to the greens. In this case, I'm going to do otherwise and use some of the dark first. The shadows up under on the trees. I have a little bit too much water in that, but we can work around that. So, and again, with watercolors, you need to, anything that's white is your paper, anything that's pale is more pigment, more water, less pigment, although that takes a certain amount of control as well. But you have to plan on what's going to be left white. There is a technique you can use, and for longer, more sustained pieces, not this sort of plein air style of painting live, you can actually paint in sections of rubber cement where you want it to stay white, and then you can, at the end of the painting, peel that back off, and that way you have those white areas popping through. So it's a technique you can use. I don't, but that's partially because, again, I'm trying to do these as close to real-time live as possible, and that kind of painting, waiting it for it to dry and whatnot, is just not an available technique for me. So this is more in the plein air style of painting. One go, quick, get it in, capture the moment, but not a lot of preliminary work or post work either, for that matter. So just getting a hint of the foliage in the background, and see, by having laid the dark in first, I can drag some of the light color and the dark back and forth, get a little more of that three-dimensional quality of the foliage. All right, a little bit of grass right here in the foreground for where the spectator is staying and standing as they come around the corner. Let's give this young lady a pair of shorts. Again, we're going to change the color a little bit because she has on khaki shorts and it would look like flesh. All right, just a little bit of shadow color from that same that I just used. Again, trying to give some dimensionality. Now that's a little dark, so I'm just going to get a wet brush and soften that edge. See? So you do have some ways to erase in watercolor. Basically, you take a clean, wet brush and pick up that pigment before it sets up, and then you can move it and even erase it. You can almost like use the water as a rag and pick the color up. So just about finished here, laying the quote-unquote black in for the shorts, the bikes. The wheels. Just getting those hints in. Those last little details. And the last thing to do is the road. Looks like we're going to put a little, so they're in and out of the shadows of the trees. So we're going to have, and again, I'm using these tree shadows as a contrapposto diagonal to sort of balance that sweeping movement of, so I haven't done so all this work I share on my blog at theartofcycling.blogspot.com. It is purchasable. You can follow the direct links there through to my website. So it'll take you directly to where each painting, and you can buy it through the shopping cart feature. So it's theartofcycling.blogspot.com. The website is gregleach.com, and I'll put all these in the description. And then the manufacturers again are Richson Art, and I'll post their website as well. Give us a like, give us a follow. Got any questions you want me to answer? Please comment below. Thanks a lot.